So close of play of the third day of the third test match between England and India at Headingley. Remember, India lead the series 1-0. Sees India close on 215 for 2, a much more determined, resolute and disciplined performance in their second innings than in their first. It does mean they're still 139 runs behind, but my word, it could have been a lot worse for them. Rahul was out for 8, a brilliant catch by Bairstow at second slip off Overton. Rohit Sharma made a very nice 59. He was LBW to Robinson, but the real story as far as India is concerned is the return to form of Cheteshwar Pujara, who closed the day on 91 not out, and with him Virat Kohli was 45 not out. So they've put India into a position at least where people might start to think, oh, okay, just ever so possibly 215 for 2. They've got a lot of batting still to go, of course, and they do have that long tail. England didn't last long today. 432 they were bowled out for a bit of a swipe from Ollie Robinson, finished things off after Overton was out for 32. So 432, that's set a lead of 354. They lost those last 2 wickets in for 9 runs in 3.2 overs. So that's how it's all set up then. Still 139 behind, 215 for 2. Let's get the thoughts of actually Deep first of all, because you're pretty miserable after that first innings. Deep, you've got a bit more of a smile on your face today, because that was more like it. They batted really well.
Yeah, again, I mean, this is what the Indian team is all about. I believe Michael's been talking about how poor India's been in the last couple of days, but you know, this is a huge inning. Just to remind people in general, you know, that 78 was an aberration. That generally won't happen. Having said that, it wasn't too long back that India got out for 36 as well. But having said that, I mean, what has been really, really pleasing to see is how Pujara got those runs. Yes, he's batting on 90 and he's got those runs. But it's the manner in which he got those runs. I haven't seen Pujara playing a pull shot or a cut or a back foot punch in a while. I think the last time that I can remember was 2018 Southampton, when he was batting on 70 and to bat with the tail enders, and he was started to play a few more shots. So it's really pleasing to see how Pujara, it's easier said than done to change that mindset, you know, be more positive. It's very easy for us to sit here and talk about it, but and he actually did that out there.
Yes.
It's the same player. Not much difference in the technique that we've seen over the series, or maybe a couple of days ago. But it's just that simple flick of the switch or change in the mindset, and he looks like a different player altogether.
Yeah, he does. And I think we said when he came out, yes, he needs to score runs, but actually it's the way in which he scores them too, isn't it? I mean, if he'd scored a really scratchy, whatever it may have been, that might not have proved very much. But actually, he's come out. I thought Jimmy Anderson got it a bit wrong when he bowled him to start with. There's quite a lot of balls there on the leg stump, but he got him away 2 or 3 boundaries, flicked away through mid-wicket, and suddenly, hang on a minute, you know, I'm just opening the curtains here and I'm seeing daylight again.
But that does help, doesn't it? I mean, if you're out of the first 10 deliveries that you face, you get 3 half volleys on your feet, and you're suddenly in. Yes. I think he was batting on 14 in the first 13 deliveries that he faced, and suddenly you're starting to feel a little more comfortable. You're a lot more positive. I mean, obviously that does help. But again, I mean, if you have that positive mindset, I've mentioned this before, it's a funny thing that everything starts to fall in place, isn't it? Your body's moving a lot better, you're in better positions, you're finding the gaps more often, you're scoring a lot more freely.
Yeah, not sure why England rather changed their attack when he came out, because Jimmy Anderson swung the ball away, and it seemed like a deliberate policy to bowl these in-swingers at Pujara, and the line wasn't right, and he picked them off.
Yeah, they gifted him a start.
Yeah,
you know, and he's a great player. He averages 45 in Test cricket, and it doesn't take too long for really good players to get back into that belief in themselves. And you know, when you get out there, and he'd have been terribly nervous today. He knows that he needs runs, and before he knew it, he was on 20. And he played a few nice flicks through the onside, and he thought, oh, that's nice, that's enjoyable. You know, when batting is tough and you're going out there just for survival, it's not enjoyable. You know, and you've got to try and get yourself into the state of mind that Pujara found himself in today. It was back to the wall, and he had to do something different. So he probably said to himself, you know what, whatever happens today, I'm going to go out to try and score runs. That would have been his sole focus. Watch the ball to try and score. And he went out, he gets to 20, he goes, well, that's a nicer feeling.
Yeah.
You know, scoring runs, playing that back foot punch. He played a beautiful drive off Overton through extra cover.
He did, yeah.
And he played a pull shot, and he must have thought, oh, wow, I've got to 91 now. He must have been in that dressing room. And it's amazing cricket. It's been easier because the ball's not hooped around like the first innings. And at times throughout the series, it has been swinging. So today was an easier day for batting. But he'll be sat in that dressing room and he's probably saying to himself, why don't I do that all the time?
Well, that's
why
what I'm
don't I
going
take
to ask
that
you.
mindset out every single day?
Two batsmen to my left. When suddenly the fog does clear, you must just sit there and scratch your head, don't you? You say, what was going on there?
True. I guess he just got sucked into this whole quicksand kind of a situation where he wasn't getting runs, and that's the only way he knows how to bat is being defensive, so to say. But then you can be positive frame of mind and also be a defensive batter at the same time. It doesn't have to be as slow as or as constrained as Pujara seemed in the last couple of years. I think he must have felt that. And just a small thing, I don't know whether that's helped or not. Before he went out to bat, the time that he was padded up, he was sitting with Ashwin, and they were smiling and laughing because that period is very, very tricky. When you're padded up, ready to go in next, and that period of time when you have those negative thoughts, you're not got a lot of runs, you're playing for your place maybe. But I thought, that was a really good thing for Ashwin as well to sit next to him because they're best of mates and maybe just kind of calm his nerves a bit before he went out to bat.
Yeah. It was interesting because it seems to me that some of the pressure was put on him by Virat Kohli, not intentionally, I'm sure, but talking after the World Test Championship final and the start of a new cycle, we're going to be a much more, we're trying to be a more positive scoring team, and people picked that up as being right. That means that Pujara is going to go. But I thought the way that Kohli didn't so much, didn't give him a little touch of the gloves when he got his 50. But he almost swept off his feet with a huge embrace, slaps on the back. A real show of support actually from the captain.
Yeah, I'm sure. He said a few things before the series started, and a lot of people thought, or maybe it was for all you know, maybe that has kind of helped Pujara find a newer version of himself. This could be Cheteshwar Pujara 2.0, and this could be a watershed moment in Pujara's career as well. If he can take what he found here in terms of the tempo, the momentum, and for all for the next 2-3 years or 4 years, he might not ever look back from here on and start playing like the way he's played in this innings.
Yeah, he must have moments, Michael, anyway. You say something clicks, and you sit there and think, well, what happened? Why was I floundering around all that time?
Yeah, and it's always in your mind.
Yeah.
It's just a mental switch that, you say to yourself, I'm actually going to go out there and stare at the ball to score. And then, ironically, your feet start to move a bit better and you leave good balls, and then you play a nice defence, but you're looking to score because you nick a single, and then a bad ball comes because you're staring at the ball to score. It feels like it takes forever to get to you. And you say, oh, thank you very much, I'll hit that to the boundary. And you almost get to a stage where you feel that you can hit the ball wherever you wish when you get into a great groove. I don't think Pujara's yet at that stage where he feels he could smash it to all parts, but it was good to see a fight back.
Yes.
I think Test cricket, particularly this venue, it's a funny old game, and we've seen that only recently here at Headingley. We've seen it in '81. India are miles behind the game. There's still 139 to make England bat again. But if India are still there at lunch and they maybe only lose one in that opening session to the new ball, then you start to think, they'll probably get 80 in that open. Then the pressure actually comes onto them because they might start to think, oh, hello, we get 150 in front. At the minute, they're just batting with no real thought of what could happen. They're just batting.
Yes.
And it's that when they get a bit closer that they might start to think, this is a game that we could cause a huge upset on day 5. If it goes into day 5, Aggers, I think India start to give England a real concern
because they'll have runs on the ball.
Well, we've also seen spin. We've seen spin from Joe Root and Moeen Ali. Jadeja will certainly spin it on day 5, and I'm sure Virat in the dressing room tonight may not say a lot in the morning. Say, come on, let's bat the 90 overs today and see where it takes us. And if we're still batting tonight, we could do something tomorrow, and that'll be the target of the Indian team. I think it's a long way off, but it's a target.
England tomorrow, who we know their confidence is low, desperate to win this game. If they do start to, if that second new ball comes and goes, be interesting to see how that happens. Root put his hand up at Lord's, made some mistakes there tactically and so on.
Surely they don't do that again, because it's just simplicity.
Well, not that particular thing, but just generally the mindset of the England team, as we know, is defensive.
And that's what the message I'd say to the England team: just keep it simple, keep hitting that length around the off stump, just outside, with a great deal of intensity. And at Headingley, you're on today for something will happen. if you're patient. It might be that it takes an hour, it might take an hour and a half. You have to stay patient on and around that fourth stump line, full of length, bringing the batters forward. And if you do that on day 4 wicket with a second new ball, I'm pretty sure you'll create chances. If you start to go funky and start trying to be creative and start changing angles and changing lengths, well, the ball may travel to all parts, and you start looking and going, well, oh, this is getting into a tricky situation. Just keep it dead simple.
Kohli looked determined when he came out, didn't he, Deep? I mean, he's won the toss and batted, and whatever people have had to say about that, bowled out by 78 wasn't a good performance in the field either. So the captain, you could just see, I mean, he was a sort of rigid look of determination on his face as he walked out to try and sort things out.
And it looked like 2018 Virat Kohli, isn't it? Leaving those deliveries, being more patient and watchful outside that off stump. Michael mentioned this before about him being a little anxious, which is, I guess, quite normal. Somebody of his stature hasn't really scored 100 in a while, hasn't scored those big runs. He's looking for it. But I think maybe in this innings, he's trying to go back to the process and focusing on the process rather than the end result of getting a big run. And that's what's good to see, that he's fallen back on the process and not worrying about whether he's going to get a 70 or a 100 or a 200. It's just what he did and what was so successful for him in 2018.
Yes. I didn't think he had a very good day today, and we always praise him when he does brilliantly, which is a lot, but I think Jimmy Anderson had a very good day today, and he knew it, and you could see him at the end, frustrated. There was quite a lot of those loose balls he bowled today. Yeah,
not often, particularly, in English conditions with the duke ball. It's very, very rare that you see Jimmy have an off day, just straight in his line and length. Bowled a few floaty ones to Pujara early to get him going. Very unlike Jimmy Anderson. I'd be amazed if he has another day like that tomorrow. I think he might be back with that second new ball. The Anderson-Kohli confrontation on a Saturday at Headingley with a full house, it doesn't get much better than that. I just look at that lead of 139, and I always believe when you're looking at leads and deficits and you have to try and get that target to get the opposition batting again, if one of those individuals gets that 139 on their own, so Virat gets another 139 or Pujara gets 139, it's game on. That's how I break these kind of little challenges down, that one individual for India has to stick their hand and say, I will clear out that 139 for us. The rest of you just try and muscle at 140 for us.
So 139 plus what he's got already, so he's got to get a double 100 almost.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. One person, whoever it is, gets rid of that 139, and the rest of us, we have to muscle up a few more.
Yeah. We talked about Rohit Sharma the other day, didn't we? And perhaps playing a little bit more positivity, I suppose, is the word, because we know what a lovely fluent stroke player he is in white ball cricket. Do you think we saw a few more glimpses of that today?
I thought he was more positive with his stroke play. I think the attitude of Pujara kind of rubbed on him as well, the way he was playing his shots. But yeah, I think again he would be bitterly disappointed, because again he was looking so good today. And then suddenly, I mean, if I may call it, against the run of play, the way both Pujara and him were batting at that point in time. But yeah, he still hasn't got 100 away from home.
Let's go and join Allison Mitchell. She's talking to Craig Overton.
On the practice wickets there, so it's just rolled it and it's fine now. But yeah, it's obviously I'm a bit wary of it because I've done it before.
India still obviously behind. It looked tricky to get wickets out there today. What made it so hard? Yeah,
the wickets obviously got slower, so there's obviously still a little bit with the cloud cover, there's still a little bit of swing there, but the wickets a little bit slower, so it's not doing as much as it was first day. So you have to be really on your length to be able to sort of get those nicks, and obviously the nicks sometimes won't carry because it is that slow wicket. So it was a nutritional day, and we've got that new ball in the morning, so hopefully we come back tomorrow and start well, get a couple of early ones, and they're really under pressure again.
One nick did carry, and it needed to be well caught as well. How was that catch from your point of view?
Yeah, looked like Johnny made it a bit harder than what it was. No, it was a great catch. Obviously, any slip catch is never easy. I know from that from my past experiences. So I'm just really happy that it stuck, and we managed to get that wicket, and obviously got us then one before lunch, then one after, which was nice.
The new ball is going to be so important tomorrow. You will have fresher bowlers though with the spin towards the end of the day. What's going to be the key to making that new ball work for you?
I think we've got to try and make them play as much as possible. Obviously the wicket's quite slow, but it's making sure that we're making them play, and then hopefully it's cloudy tomorrow, but I'm not sure about that. So we just got to try and stick in and make the most of that new ball, because it will do a little bit off the surface, and then just stick in for the rest of the day probably.
Good luck for tomorrow.
No worries, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's Allison talking to Craig Overton, who bowled very well today. I think Louise Lear, the weather forecaster, said this morning it's quite a warm day tomorrow.
21 degrees tomorrow. I'm just looking at my app.
I mean, is there much cloud around tomorrow?
A bit of sunshine and cloud, yes.
I think so. I think Craig might be disappointed if he's after a cloudy day tomorrow, because I think it is going to be a better batting day, maybe.
Today was perfect for bowling with the clouds.
Yeah, than it has been today. I'm not sure there's going to be any more interviews down there or not. I think Rohit Sharma's lined up to talk. We may hear from him. We may not. But we'll catch up with him a little bit later on. As far as England's tactics this evening were concerned, Michael, I mean, I thought that was right. I don't know about you, but get the spinners on. There was only that short period of time to go to get to that new ball. Then say to the umpires, right, we want to bowl off fast bowlers now. Take the new ball. The umpires say, well, you can't. Right, we're going to have enough runs while we do this process. Off we go.
Well, where Joe Root used his local experience, he knows that second new ball in the morning will do more than it would do an hour into the day's play. It always does. It just has the element of a bit more moisture in the surface, around the ground. And that's what you always try to aim for at Headingley, is to get that new ball in your hands right at the start of the day's play. So you could see with Joe Root, he was going, right, whip the spinners on, get through them, get to 80. He knew that the umpires weren't going to allow the seamers to bowl in the light with the new ball this evening. But it's perfect for England to regroup, get in the dressing room, try and assess what they've done, what they haven't done, what's been good, what's not, and then come back tomorrow morning with a brand new Duke ball, knowing that, you know, India, they can't afford a half an hour blip in this test match. They have to win every minute of this test match, you feel, going forward to win the test match. And England know that. They've just got to be patient. And you mentioned a good point about they've not been used to winning. And when you're not used to winning, you can sometimes panic and maybe in the dressing room now they're fearing that one thing. They're miles ahead of this test match.
Yes.
History tells you India are not winning this game. And it's only the mind and the tactics and a little bit of a fret on the fact that they've not been winning games of cricket that will stop England winning this test match. They should convincingly win, but it might just take a little bit longer than they thought.
Yeah. It was interesting that last half hour there. Was it from both sides? Because you see the Indian batsmen thinking, right, we've got Root and Moeen. Let's get what we can here. But then, of course, England getting towards that new ball, so it was a bit of a balancing act, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you actually pace your innings as well in a test innings. You look at your bowlers, you try and gauge the situation and say, okay, now it's the time when I can make some quick 10-15 runs and, you know, get into my 50 or my 100 or get closer to those milestones. I mean, it was that kind of time in this test match. But yeah, I mean, you knew where this thing is going. I mean, 80 overs done, new ball, and you were talking about 139. I don't think Indian team or that dressing room will be thinking about all that at all. They won't be thinking ahead of themselves. It's just go out there, another session of batting like they've done today. Maybe tea if they don't lose too many wickets, and by then you would expect India to be thereabouts, or maybe another 10-20 runs ahead, maybe at that point in time. But I think this is way too early, and I'm sure they won't be thinking about...
I mean, realistic, if you sort of work things out, I'm trying to do it at the top of my head, but I mean, what did India need to score from here? Another 300, really, to put pressure onto England?
Well,
that's a lot of runs.
I reckon 280 and a 140 chase.
Yes.
With this England batting lineup and the fact they haven't won, I mean, I don't think they'll get to that. But I think,
but it's put in perspective. That's a lot of runs to score.
A huge amount of runs from here on in.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, it needs one of those individuals to clear out that 139. They may do that, but you know, day 4 at Headingley with the second new ball, it's going to be very, very tricky. I wouldn't want to see England chasing 140. From what I've seen with the spin of the off spinners, and I just know that this Indian side have got it in them if they get to that stage of making it very uncomfortable. I don't think it'll get to that, but India may have other kind of answers to that tomorrow.
Let's have a quick listen to Rohit Sharma, shall we, talking to Allison Mitchell.
Rohit, well batted. Important to put partnerships together given that size of the deficit. How satisfied with the work is the team today?
Yeah, very pleasing actually. I know we are very much behind in the game, but to come out and put that partnership was very important for us as a batting unit. And this game is very funny. You never know, anything can happen. We have a good day tomorrow as well. Anything is possible. So we're just hopeful that we can create those more partnerships going tomorrow into the game. And I understand that they're going to take a new ball tomorrow as well. So that'll be crucial for us. If we bat out that, it's not going to be that easy. The wicket has pretty much slowed down now. So I think, batters have a good chance to dig in and get those big runs.
What sort of mindset have you needed as a team to recover and come back from 78 all out?
Yeah, it was a tough one. Well, we didn't bat it that well, to be honest. It was not a 78 all-out kind of a pitch. Yes, they bowled some good balls, but by no means, it was a 78 pitch. We batted poorly. We do understand that, but we have a great opportunity in our hand tomorrow to correct our mistakes, and that has shown now in this innings. We've batted pretty well in this 3 session that we batted.